The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh, got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
Perfect podcast coming to you March 7th, 2024. It is Double Pod Thursday. This is the podcast number 1 of the day. And of course, bringing our old friend of the podcast, friend of the pod, Marc Francois, out of New York. It's still weird to say that you live in New York. It's still weird. Oh, wait. Can't hear you. Got to unmute your mic. I think it's on your end too. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, it does feel weird to say New York, doesn't it?
For me,
although
yep.
Next week will be a year.
That's right. Wait, yeah, you're right. It is here next week. Yeah.
Yeah, because I left. Well, it's around the 13th, 14th is when I actually pulled into New York. I know I left San Diego on March 9th, but it was 10 days of driving because I took my time.
Remember I told you, and we actually did a podcast last year on this, right when you got into New York, doing your trip and stuff, and tell about all the different things you're doing, driving from California to New York.
Yeah, exactly. Funny enough, I'm gonna be in New Orleans almost a year to the day that I was there for the first time last year. So
really,
just for fun. But yeah, dude, I love that city. Amazing city. Yeah. And actually, when I went home for Christmas, I had to empty out the last of my dad and grandparents' stuff from storage units and everything. And I found some shit from my dad's office that even my mom never knew about. And one of them was this movie poster sized certificate from the mayor of New Orleans naming my dad as an honorary citizen of the city that was presented to him at the ribbon cutting of a hotel he project managed. There's a huge so you've been to New Orleans?
No, I'm dying to. His bucket list, definitely.
Okay. So when you go down at the west end of the main downtown area by Harrah's is a huge Hilton called the Hilton Riverfront, massive convention hotel, 1,100 rooms, something like that. Wow. My dad project managed that place, and some of his best memories of his early part of his career were the time he spent in New Orleans. And literally he would, take a red eye from LA to New Orleans or something like that, or first flight out in the morning, get to the job site in a suit and tie, and then 20 minutes later he's helping guys hang chandeliers in the ballroom. Yeah, he said it was a wild time in his life. And it was very cool. And then, when I went home, I found this huge framed certificate. My mom was like, "Oh, he never even told me about that." She's like, "That must have been from his office." She's like, "That must have been in the closet in his office, and he just brought it home when they shut down the office." Because he had all this shit in his office in Beverly Hills, and then when Hilton shut down their Beverly Hills offices, it all ended up in the attic or in the rafters in my garage, and so there's a bunch of crap that I rediscovered I had no idea he even had.
That's interesting. Is that a Marvel mug?
Yeah, it's
a little blurry.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay,
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
It's the Miles Morales one.
Oh, I love the new Spider-Mans.
Burlington Code Factory, $4.99.
I was just watching that movie.
They had a whole bunch of cool cartoon mugs. I got this Harry Potter anime one. I got 2 Spider-Man ones.
Yeah, we were actually watching a movie a couple days ago because my kids love it too. We took them to the theater to see it, and they love it.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, it's I
I know
can't
you weren't
believe.
watching Madam Web.
No, but it's amazing to me how those movies are like probably, in my opinion, if not the best, definitely one of the best adaptations of Spider-Man I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. Anyway.
Yeah, Into and Across are absolutely amazing, and I think it has it. There's all these cool between the game, the animated films, and then like the MCU stuff.
Right.
They have done this really cool thing where they all have their own stories that go in their own directions, but they have dope little overlaps. They like kind of nod and wink at each other at times. And I think the way that Sony and Disney have done that for the most part, Morbius and Madam Web notwithstanding,
Of course, yeah.
the way that Disney and Sony have worked together on that has been really dope.
Yeah. By the way, nice little Haiti
And then,
shirt.
of course, people at Insomniac, because they're like, what they've done with that game is insane.
By the way, nice Haiti shirt you're wearing there.
Oh, thank you. So that is, I got a shameless plug. I'm not being paid to do this. A company called Caribbean Apparel. I met the founder at Miami Airport after Flag Day a couple of years ago, and his line is dope. So this is like all embroidered, and you got
it's a jacket, right? Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really dope. Yeah, it's actually a full sweatsuit, but he was sold out of the pants in my size when I bought him, and he hasn't. But no, it's really sick, and obviously, to anybody who's been looking, and obviously it's not getting nearly enough coverage. Haiti's in a position, Haiti's obviously been in peril for a long time, but it has become incredibly punctuated right now. And, you have, the gang violence is at an all-time high. The prime minister can't get into the country. And
really? Wait, he can't get in the country, really?
No. So, okay. Little recap, because, there's a lot of different things at play, and we'll kind of go through a couple different bits of it. But so Haiti has been obviously, it's been a rotating door of challenges and foreign interference and corrupt leaders for a century and a half. However, specifically going back to just COVID, Haiti got ravaged by COVID, and the president, Jovenel Moise, would not accept aid from foreign countries as far as like vaccines and whatnot. And, we can debate that, but, anyone who understands Haiti knows that like there's very good reason for President Moise to have, been mistrustful of the West, so to speak. During his presidency, he began using the G9 gang, which is led by Jimmy Cheritier. His nickname is Barbecue. And he got that nickname because his preferred method of dispatching with his enemies is to burn them at a stake wrapped in tires. So he barbecues his enemies. Right. President Moise was accused of a lot of different corruption, but principal among them was that he was effectively using the G9 gang as a secret police, like the Tonton Macoute during Papa Doc's reign. And so when he was assassinated, it created a power vacuum in Port-au-Prince between the different gangs. And so gang violence and kidnappings, just ravaged the capital. And then, over time, as, earthquakes, tropical storms hit the country in 2021, there was an earthquake in August of 21 in the Southern Department, they call states departments in Haiti. So there was the, August 2021 earthquake, and then almost immediately followed by a tropical storm.
Right.
And so you had a lack of services. So bandit groups forming in the more rural regions, and the violence spread even as far as Cap-Haïtien. And then as gang members start, fleeing for safety to the rural areas. They get embedded with bandit squads, and then the reach of the gangs spreads, and then the violence spreads. Yeah. It all just kind of snowballs. And so, there haven't been elections in Haiti since 2016 when President Moïse was elected. Mm-hmm. And Ariel Henry was supposed to hold elections in February 2022, the current prime minister. So in 2022, he delayed elections because of the gang violence, but then the gang violence got worse, and then legitimate calls for his ouster from citizens began, and then the gangs started blaming their war on the fact that Ariel Henry won't step down. And that brings us where we are today, where Barbecue, Jimmy Cherizier, has said basically that if Ariel Henry doesn't step down, it's going to create a civil war, or the violence is only going to become worse throughout the country. And currently, Henry, the gangs have invaded the police departments, the National Penitentiary. They've freed thousands of prisoners, and they've taken over the airport in Port-au-Prince. So the prime minister was trying to land in Cap-Haïtien, au Cap, mm-hmm. and protesters prevented that. So he's now hiding out in Puerto Rico.
Wow. I feel like at this point, the only thing that can be done to really save that country as is like if the U.S. just bought it up, clean house. And
simplistically, yes. However, what Haiti needs is self-determination. They've never had it because they've been hamstrung since 1804. When Haitian enslaved people liberated themselves and overthrew the French, the greatest immediately that ended any aid that, for example, the U.S. was sending to Haiti. Because, for example, John Adams did actually send a very small amount of aid to Toussaint Louverture during the Revolution. However, once Jefferson was elected, that all stopped because the greatest fear of slave-owning Southerners was that this idea of liberation would infect their fields and enslave.
Imagine that, huh? Imagine that.
Yeah.
God,
weird, right?
We've come a long way.
Yeah, and so basically you had a fledgling United States, France, England, and Spain all going, oh shit, we can't have liberated black people. So no one would trade with them. And the United States wouldn't actually recognize Haiti as a sovereign nation until Reconstruction.
Yeah.
So, when you think of what Haiti has been through from its inception, they beat back numerous attempts at recapture and invasion by the French, the Americans, as well as the British, because the French enlisted help from the British and the Americans. Haiti, Saint-Domingue, was France's most profitable colony. Mm-hmm. And so as Napoleon was trying to conquer Europe, he desperately needed money and made numerous attempts to reinvade Haiti. So this is how the country starts out, up to about 1820. And then ever since, it's been a series of restrictions, embargoes, and outright invasions by other countries, including the United States, ever since. And for example, in the 20th century, all you had to do to get money from the United States post World War II was say that you were fighting communism. And if you were a crooked dictator that, was right-wing appearing or, somewhat democratic, you could get aid money from the United States. And the Duvaliers absolutely did that, during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s as well.
Yeah, that country, I and especially for me, living in South Florida and having a lot of friends that are Haitian and friends of family. I'm obviously a Caribbean born, not Caribbean born, but Caribbean, aesthetics, and parents from Trinidad, so we have somewhat a connection.
Well, and Haiti is intimately connected, obviously, with just about every island in the Caribbean because they were instrumental in so many others liberating themselves.
Right. So it's one of those things where you continue hearing these stories, and it's just sad. It's really sad, and
Yeah.
I wish there was something you can do to fix it, like with a snap of a finger. But it's to your point.
Well,
Some termination.
one thing people can do is visit my employer's website, hacglobal.org. So
You're still involved in that? Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm still with HAC, and as a matter of fact, we need help more than ever because So for those who are unaware, we previously had a school in Quadebouquet. That was our main facility. We were educating and feeding upwards of at our peak 650 to 700 students a day, preschool through 12, pre-K through 12. And then we had on average 150 to 200 adult education students per day. As the gang violence and COVID ravaged the country, that obviously changed.
Yeah.
And so Quadebouquet and our school are in ground zero for the G9's turf, Jimmy Chevizier's turf.
Yeah, send me information later after the show, so I can put it in the show notes after. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Stuff.
So no,
absolutely.
visit. Check out our website, connect with us on social media, donate if you can. And one of the things I wanted to note is that actually the specific neighborhood where our school is in Quadebouquet actually experienced a bit of, the fight really came to our doorstep because the G9s were pushed out of the neighborhood where we are. Mm-hmm. And the gang leader who took over that area ransacked our school as a show of force. So, yeah, it was completely destroyed. And so we won't be able to reopen in Quadebouquet. We're focused on work in Jérémie and in the Southern Department and elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to reopen in Quadebouquet anytime soon because it's just too dangerous.
Right. Oh, that's just terrible.
And we spent about 9 months or almost a year closed in 2022 because of just students and teachers not being able to get to school. It wasn't safe. And one of the real tragedies in all of this is that our cistern, our clean water source, doesn't just provide water to the school. One of the reasons we were able to sort of be exempted from the violence, if you will, is because a lot of family members of gang members attend our school.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that our water source has a tap that provides water to people for about a half mile in every direction. So it was free potable water to anyone in the community who wanted to bring a jug. And so now not only do those children not have 2 meals a day as well as proper education, but the neighborhood is lacking a clean water source it desperately needs.
Actually, continue to keep those prayers to that country. This is every day. This is not something that happens once a blue moon. This is every day. This is their lives.
Every single day.
I'm almost 44 years old, and this is what I know of Haiti in 44 years. Is this rotating catastrophe?
We've talked about this. There's never been a time in my life where it hasn't been a conversation in my family about what's going on in Haiti. Because my great aunt lived there until right before she passed away, and was
she did. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about it before. But
yeah, we have.
Marriage, yes. Family friends that were friends of the family when my dad lived in Haiti in the 50s.
Right.
And my great aunt lived there until like 2 years before she passed away, and then she moved to South Florida with my aunt. But yeah, she was actually kidnapped during the aftermath of the earthquake in 2010.
It's freaking terrible.
Yeah.
All right, let's transition to one of the reasons why we're really here is Super Tuesday's in the back burner now. It came went quickly. I to be honest with you got to remind me that was that day when I texted you about the podcast. You're like, today? You're like, what, today? I thought it was next week. I think it was the
first when is Super Tuesday? I'm like, today.
It's like, holy crap. I'll be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you that I don't know if you've been following that with me the last couple of months. I'm having some little bit of health issues recently, but I'm on the med now. Everything's fine. And one of the things I started doing, I hate doing this, but one of the things I stopped doing for the last month and a half, is I stopped following the politics day to day mainly because I didn't want it to stress me out. I didn't want it to, continue to trigger me and stress me out. So I made a decision to do that, to kind of stop following the news as a whole.
I've been really
and sports too, also,
too.
and sports somebody else too. I took a little bit backseat, a little bit. So that's why it kind of came like that out of nowhere. But that being said, Super Tuesday. I mean, look, no one's surprised at the results, but we're here. It's gonna be the delegates are not officially yet. Trump is not the official nominee, but he's going to be a nominee for the Republican Party.
And with Haley suspending her campaign,
exactly,
it's a foregone conclusion.
Let's start there first. Nikki Haley. First things first. Does she kiss the ring?
Wouldn't matter if she did.
Right, but does she? Because she did not endorse Trump yet. The keyword yet, though.
I think like we've talked about this since 2015, is that there are so many people within the right and center right that hold their nose but despise Trump and won't say anything about it publicly. I think if she has any hope whatsoever for a political future, probably outside of South Carolina, she has no choice but to hold fast. But you never know. I mean, it seems like everybody does ultimately fall to Trump the last 8 years when presented with the option. So it's hard to say, but I don't think so.
You don't think she?
Because I don't think it does her any good.
So you think she will?
No. I think she might be one of the first to break.
Interesting.
Because like I said, based on everything Trump has said, even if she did, she's not going to be on the ticket. You know what I mean?
But she might get a cabinet seat. Who knows? Angling for that.
She's done that before, though. She was already UN ambassador.
That's true.
I wouldn't be altogether surprised if she did, but I don't expect her to.
My thing is, I'm looking at more of a situation where like these Republican politicians outside of Chris Christie are just spineless as hell.
Yeah.
Exactly. You can't half-ass it. The way DeSantis did it, you can't half-ass it. If you're going against Trump, you're going against Trump, and that's it. And you hold that line.
Yeah. And it's been like that forever, whether it be Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio or Lindsey Graham. I mean, on and on and on. The list is a CVS receipt.
Mm-hmm.
It's very disappointing, but it's not altogether surprising.
I'm surprised we're still here, though. I don't know if we're totally surprised, but I go back to 4 years ago, after the election, after January 6th. We've had all these opportunities, not me, but like the Republican Party, to off-ramp for Trump. They've all knowledge behind closed doors that he's a problem.
They can't, though, because they can't win a national election without his base. The truth of the matter is that the Republican Party, because they are the party of Christo-fascist white people, they have no choice but to embrace that 30 to 38% of their voter base that is unapologetically for Trump, regardless. I mean, if he has a pulse, they're voting for him. And whatever ethical compromises, ideological compromises come with that, they don't seem to give a shit because they're more concerned with winning.
Well, that's it too. Also, it's weighing power versus what is right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really simple thing if you study history. Basically, all of the people who are aggrieved about the civil rights movement and women's lib and everything else that comes with it, everyone who's been pissed off since the 60s is finally getting their way. The Phyllis Schlafly crowd is getting what they want.
And the sad part too, Mark, is that now we're like 8 years later, and now they're just comfortable saying those things, like especially in media, saying those things. Like,
I mean, you look no further than the Federalist Society's Project 2025 platform. Yeah. That is the playbook of what's going to happen. They're telling you unapologetically that if Trump wins, which he is likely to do, it is the end of democracy as we know it. They are going to we talk about the people who are sort of apolitical actors within the government that are just, the pencil and paper pushers, who, if you did not support President Trump, you will be purged. And like Kash Patel is being very unapologetic about the fact that politicians, journalists, and citizens who spoke out against the president, who contributed to the false election of 2020, you will be hunted. They're not being shy about it.
That's the thing. They're not. And the cover
They're
level
not being coy. They're not using dog whistles. They're telling you in plain English what the fuck they intend to do. And if Donald Trump wins the election, it's basically the end of democracy in America as we know it.
But can I?
And I'm not trying to sound hyperbolic here, but like, go read Project 2025.
So my only pushback on that, and I might disagree with what you're saying there. My only pushback is this, and I'm playing mostly devil's advocate here, with that.
Sure.
We kind of hear that term used every single cycle when it pertains to especially the Republican Party. Democracy on the unline. I heard that term used with George Bush twice. I heard that term used with Mitt Romney, with John McCain. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is not true, because Donald Trump.
People calling each other fascists and communists in American politics.
But Donald Trump is an anomaly. Donald Trump is an anomaly, and we've seen the stretching of the guardrails of U.S. government under his 4 years. And it survived, yes, but there's been some damage, obviously. And then you saw January 6th happen, and there's a lot of stuff behind that, whether or not people believe it's real or not. Look, it's real. Look at it.
Yeah, like, and he has said, period, point blank, like he will not be appointing people like H.R. McMaster and Jeff Sessions. He's only going to appoint people to positions that are 100% on the team.
And yet, it feels like Democrats, based on the optics at top, they're not concerned. Because if they were concerned, we're having a conversation about Joe Biden running for re-election, regardless of what the conversations he's had.
That comes back again to the fact that ultimately it's not about ideology, it's about class. And the DNC leadership is bankrolled by the same people that bankroll the fascists. And just like in Weimar Germany, you have the center left selling out the far left in the interest of their wallets.
Right.
And all anyone needs to do is read The Death of Democracy and study what happened in Germany between 1919 and 1932. It's exactly like we are Germany 1932 right the fuck now.
Interesting. That's interesting. People want to say, "Oh, well, this is a podcast saying this guy's fucking crazy." What are you talking about? This is not Hitler.
Do the reading. I have. Go ahead. Check my work.
Right. Check my stats. What does Shaq say? Check my stats. No. And that's the thing too. Also, I feel like the top of Democratic ticket really does not really have enough. There's not enough panic or enough concern. At least that's the optics.
Well, and they're doing a terrible job of communicating the things that they are objectively winning at.
God, yeah.
And at the end of the day, despite the fact that economic indicators are trending upward, and there is no objective metric to say that the economy is running badly, that does not translate to the ground because of wealth inequality. And
for the record,
American,
If for record, it's the same metric we use.
Just came out in the New York Post yesterday or the day before that Manhattanites spend the highest percentage of their income on rent of anyone else in America.
Yep, that's surprising me at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
when I moved to San Diego, one of the advantages was that basically per square foot, an apartment in San Diego is about half of LA. That is not the case anymore. San Diego is now the most expensive city in America to live. How the fuck did that happen in 12 years? Corporate greed. The answer is corporate greed. And the Democrats are powerless to do anything about it because they're paid off by the same people that are paying off the Republicans.
So it's Trump, Biden, obviously. I'm watching these numbers.
I mean, unless some medical intervention occurs or Jack Smith imprisons President Trump, yeah.
Or we get a 1968 all over again, where Lyndon Johnson says, "I'm good, I'm out."
Well, prayed,
if we follow that 68, for example, he announced on March 31st, 68, and it was election year for the record. So there is precedent for this if it does happen.
There is, but there's nothing about Joe Biden's record that indicates he's even considering that.
No, nor
he's been pretty unapologetic about it.
Nor, to be honest with you, based on the things that he has done, I have to admit, he has been. If you are a lefty and you follow Joe Biden's career, there's no question about this that he is way more progressive as a president than he was as a senator. That is not even a conversation. So you should be somewhat.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not enough. Honestly, it's not enough.
Mark, it's never enough, though. We know that. But at least you can say he has come on some things. He hasn't gone all the way on student loans. And for record, I'm not necessarily someone who's big on student loans, but he's done more on student loans than anybody else has.
That I can't argue that, but it's crumbs and we need bread. You know what I mean?
Right.
The border's a disaster. And not for the reasons the Republicans say. It's because we're not following our own fucking federal laws on refugee resettlement. And Republicans are unapologetically refusing to work with the president on any kind of reasonable border solution, even though they got basically everything they asked for in the legislation, because they want the fucking talking point for the next 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah, use hang it's like low hanging fruit to use as a way to win votes in November. It's an old tricker's day.
The Department of Justice, Merrick Garland has dragged his feet on the January 6th stuff. There are any number of things where you.
But it's also a reason why, Mark, real quick, that I think Democrats do the same thing when it comes to abortion when Roe v. Wade. They could have codified that years ago. They chose not to because they want to keep it as a hanging issue.
President Obama was out there on the campaign trail in 2007 and 2008 saying he was going to codify Roe. And as soon as he was pressed on it in office, he changed his story. I mean, it's really that simple. And the press conferences are there. Again, the information is readily available. So no, you're 100% correct. It's just, it comes back to that old line from Jeff Daniels in the newsroom. If liberals are so fucking smart, why do they lose so goddamn always?
Yep, because the liberals on top of the ticket don't give a fuck about you. And I was telling my bosses yesterday at work, I go, listen, it's funny how look, we can sit and talk politics and agree on certain issues, but you're willing to lose friendships over people who don't give a shit about you? Really?
And I mean, look, there is a distinct difference between having a difference in politics and a difference in ethics.
This is true. Yes.
The people who I used to call friends who would like to see queer kids in cages, you can get fucked and I don't care. Right. You know what I mean?
That's different, right?
But by the same token, I'm not dying on Nancy Pelosi's hill. She don't give a fuck about me.
Yeah, exactly. So, reading some of the numbers on the Biden side, people forget there is actually a primary on the Democratic side. Joe Biden is obviously going to win that. But I saw some concerning numbers on Tuesday. A lot of the uncommitted numbers are in double digits. 15%, 12%. A lot of Democrats say, no big deal. They'll come around. I don't know, man, because I'll say it again. I said this on the podcast. I may have said it with you when we last spoke in December. I certainly said it numerous times on different podcasts with people and myself, all that. This Gaza issue could be the be-all, end-all of Joe Biden's campaign.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately, we saw voter apathy at an all-time high in 2016 surrounding Clinton v. Trump. And I think we're going to see that again. Now, for example, historically, Black liberation and the Palestinian cause have always found themselves very much aligned in this country. And as a result, you do see support for the president waning among black folks. Now, instead of 90% of black voters, intending to vote Democrat, it's like 85. But I know when I talk to my friends and when I hear people who were people who are, kind of cultural commenters, people are refusing to endorse the president. They are sick over this issue in Gaza. I mean, I posted something the other day. It was a report by The Guardian where they show how Israel has basically wiped off the map the entirety of the Palestinian residential infrastructure. They have eliminated all the hospitals. They have destroyed just about every food storage warehouse. All of this to say nothing of tens of thousands of children dead and dying every single day. When they drop expired food aid into the ocean, and as kids are swimming out to get it, Israel is bombing them.
It's a bad situation. It's a really bad situation. And I think for Joe Biden, politically speaking, it's a rock and a hard place because it's a no-win situation because the U.S. in itself, regardless of partisan politics, is indebted to Israel.
Yeah, I mean, Israel is the United States' most important strategic foothold in the region, and
Absolutely.
So they're going to allow Israel. We are going to allow Israel to get away with literal murder and war crimes because it behooves us.
Isn't also their economy 20% of their economy funded by us?
Something like that, yeah.
The numbers around that number.
Yeah.
So again,
it's between 15 and 20, I think. Like 18% or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It's still pretty high. That's still high. They get universal health care. We don't.
Israeli citizens enjoy free health care and all kinds of social services that Americans don't, and it's because of all of the aid they receive from the United States.
And the sad part too, also with this, is that people who are, and rightfully so, upset with Biden about this, especially in Michigan, which he's going to probably lose that now because of that, specifically because of the issue, because of the.
I mean, he only won Michigan by 10,000 votes in 2020,
and there's 20,000 Americans. Now, it's not to say that they're going to vote with Trump, but again,
a vote for anyone.
Not only that, but lower turnout. We saw in 2016. There is precedent of this, though. In 2016, lower turnout gives Republicans an advantage. This is how Trump won an election in the first place.
Well, and simultaneously, as they have done for a decade and a half, Republicans are actively working to suppress the Black and Muslim vote.
Right.
In every state.
Because the thing is, they're not going for Trump, because here's the thing, too, also, the rock and hard place, is that Trump is actually worse on the issue when it comes to the Gaza situation. He will support Israel on steroids. So at least, so it's one of those things where,
he's telling Benjamin Netanyahu to nuke him.
Yeah. So, in a lot of ways, Arab Americans are on a rock hard place, especially the left-leaning ones. You don't want Donald Trump to win, but you also don't want to support Joe Biden. And it's how do you play that? How do you play it? Do you just not vote?
Yeah, because look, you want to vote for somebody like RFK or Cornel West, you have effectively voted for Trump, because there's no way any one of those people is going to garner a plurality of the electorate.
And it sucks. It really does suck that we're binded by this,
Yeah, I know. And it only takes siphoning off 1.5% to swing an election.
I'll say is what I have family members now. I won't mention any names here because I want them to be called out, but family members of mine who were huge Joe Biden supporters who refused to vote for him this time because of this issue. And there are Democratic friends of mine who sit here and tell me it's not a big deal. It's like, you are living in a fucking bubble. Look, I'm not saying that I want Trump to win, but for you to be this naive about what could happen in November, I think is ludicrous. I think it's very irresponsible.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the idea of voting for Joe Biden again doesn't strike me at all as, encouraging. But if President Trump wins the election, it very likely will spell the end of democracy in America as we know it. It's right there. The Federalist Society is telling you what they intend to do. And if you don't believe me, if you don't see the parallels, Go listen to the Behind the Bastards episodes on the non-Nazi bastards who put Hitler in power. Go read The Death of Democracy, a deep dive into the unraveling of the Weimar Republic. Again, the information is readily available.
What do you make of there's still like what? Assuming, let's say Biden decides that, you know what, I'm gonna go to the side. I'm gonna not do this. We keep hearing, and there's actually like Vegas odds on this too. I keep hearing, obviously, you hear the Gavin Newsoms of the world, of course, is a possibility. Kamala Harris, of course, a possibility. But we keep hearing this Michelle Obama thing.
There's no fucking way.
No way. Like
there's no fucking way.
She's been very clear.
I mean, by all accounts, she practically divorced the president over being the first lady. I mean, their marriage got as close to unraveling as it has when he was the president of the United States.
She's told you
she hates politics.
She's told you time and time again that she only did it because she
couldn't wait to leave the White House. Like,
right. Yeah, I don't understand that, and yet she's polling pretty high.
I mean, based on anyone else out in the field, sure, I would love Michelle Obama as president. However, there's no fucking way. She wants no part of it.
No, I agree. I mean, the fact people keep talking about this, like,
stop trying to make first ladies presidents just because they're smart. Like, yeah.
She's smart.
Stop trying to make celebrities presidents because they're popular. Like,
yeah. She's smart for not trying to do it. She knows how stressful the damn job is. She did it with the first 8 years with her husband.
She wants no fucking part of that.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what Barack Obama looked like on Inauguration Day 2009 versus Inauguration Day 2017. He looks like he aged 20 years, even as a fucking black man.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So you said earlier,
black and Asian, isn't he? No, that's
you said
no, just black and white. I thought his mom was part Asian, but no.
You said earlier in the show that you believe that if the election held today, that Trump's going to win, right?
100%.
100%. Why do you feel that way?
Because voter apathy, voter suppression, and Democrats being bad at controlling the narrative. They don't hit back.
They don't.
It's as simple as that. They let Republicans say wild shit on the stump every single day. They don't call them out for lying. They don't call them out for fomenting genocide and unrest and violence. Like, they sit quietly in the corner while people say wild shit and just let them do it. So yeah, if the election were held today, President Trump wins.
Yeah, I
believe he's going to win in November.
I'm reading an article on the Hill now. I should bring it up on the screen actually, but it says the Democrats are going to hit the panic button as an implosion of. 1 second, this X's out quick. This is stupid. Can't see this. What the hell?
Yeah, I hope Super Tuesday woke them the fuck up, but I don't believe it will.
The uncommitted.
Yeah. DNC leadership are the epitome of Prius driving fart sniffers on South Park.
Yeah, the Debbie Mossman Schultz. Oh God, I can't stand her. I cannot stand her.
I was trying not to say her name.
I'll do it for you. No, if this article is true by the Hill, that the panic button for me, is Biden's.
The panic button should have been October 7th.
Yeah, I agree. But again,
war crimes being committed by our ally, the continued vetoes of UN resolutions, the continuing to cape for Israel in every diplomatic setting, like that should have been the panic button, not Super Tuesday. It's too fucking late.
I also have a conspiracy theory with this, and Mark, just follow me here. Tell me if you agree with me on this.
Okay.
I think Democrats are okay either way. What would result in November? The top of the takeaway is that if Biden wins, cool, to keep power for another 4 years.
Well, yeah, because the center left doesn't give a fuck if actual leftists get put in concentration camps.
Right. If
They're
Trump
the
went,
epitome of, I said nothing when they came for so and so, and then they came for me, and there was no one to speak for me. That's
right,
the
exactly.
epitome of the liberal elite in this country.
Right. If Trump wins, however, is their opportunity now to pivot. The idea is that, well, okay, Trump will fuck up again in 4 years. The Republican tick will be even more soiled, in 2028 than it was in 2020, whatever you want to call it. And then Democrats will be able to pivot now to, obviously, Biden will not run again, obviously, at that point, because he'll be 87, I think, if he want to run for president at that point. You can dust up with Gavin Newsom, dust up with whoever Democratic firebrand.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think their mindset is that, you know what, it's women for us. Whether or not we get Trump 4 years, let him fuck it up, and then we have a clear railing to the election in 2028. Because no matter what happens to Trump after 2025, if he wins, he's not running again after that. Now, obviously, you said democracy is going to end. We'll see how that goes if that doesn't play out. But based on the system we have now, Trump will be wouldn't be allowed to run for president after 2028. So,
number one, okay, so a couple different things why I disagree.
Okay.
Number one, if Trump is permitted to be the chief executive of the United States federal government for another 4 years, he is going to break the machine so fucking badly that even if a Democrat were to win in 2028, the government that they are going to be handed in 2029 is going to be in shambles. And it is going to take so long to repair, they're going to lose the next election anyway. And we're right back to where we started. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, even if everything that you say transpires, I genuinely believe that they're going to use the next 4 years to cultivate some fashy asshole who is a hell of a lot smarter and more capable than President Trump.
Like a DeSantis.
And President Trump may not be America's Hitler because I don't think he's smart enough to be. However, I have I believe, as surely as I'm sitting here, that if allowed to continue on this course, Republicans will find their Hitler.
Whew, that's some strong words, Mark. That's a lot of
They're telling it to us in plain English. I don't like.
That's some strong words, though. But you know what, man? It's been such a wonky decade of politics. Nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing surprises me anymore.
I mean, I've been screaming this shit since 2015.
Yeah. And you're a former Republican like me, for the record. People forget that.
So. Until 2016, I was. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. So we got, like I said, we'll have a lot more conversation on this in the months to come. We don't every year. We every 4 years, you and I dive into this thing heavy, and we're gonna continue that on this journey to November, and we're gonna hold hands, and hopefully things work out for the best, and hopefully democracy stays intact, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's pivot to some sports talk real quick. First I'll ask you this, because I've noticed though in last couple of years, we don't talk a lot about sports like it used to be. A lot because your life has changed a lot in the last couple of years. How much of the NBA have you watched this year?
Probably altogether 5 hours.
Jeez. So you're not really engaged in the NBA this year. In other words,
I mean, I follow it. You know
what's going on. In other words,
the group chat. Fortunately, I have friends that are avid hoop heads, so the group chat keeps me in the loop. But it's honestly, it's harder to enjoy a lot of these things than it used to be.
Why is that?
Because things are very, shit is serious right now. There's a literal genocide happening in Gaza, and we are causing it. We are facilitating it. And so LeBron's 40,000 just doesn't mean as much as it used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers are in 10th anyway.
Well, the West is really good this year.
No one's beating Denver.
I don't think so either.
Nobody in the West is beating Denver 4 times in 10 nights.
And by the way, tonight is the big finals possible preview for Celtics Nuggets tonight. So, but what you're saying is your priorities are in order. Your priorities are shifting in some ways. And you're as diehard Laker fans I know of anyone I've known in my entire life, and you're not really engaged in Lakers this year as you have been in the past anyway. They have played decent basketball last month or so. Unfortunately, the problem is the standings, as you mentioned. It's a lot of good teams this year. Now, I still think
Minnesota, Denver, like
OKC,
yeah.
I will say though, and I might even say this based on a reaction of what happened on Monday on that game against the Thunder. You guys beat Thunder. I do think though that if you guys play OKC in the playoffs, you guys still win in 6 or 7 games because of the experience. Oh, lack of experience.
That wouldn't surprise me. I think it's probably a second round exit or at best Western Conference Finals exit for the Lakers.
Yeah, that's their ceiling. That's their ceiling style, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, unless something happens where Jokic blows his MCL, or Achilles or something like that,
Well, Cat got Minnesota got a knee meniscus yesterday, so that could infect things. I don't know how long he'll be out for, but that could affect the race, and that's going forward.
Sure, because now who stops Jokic?
Well, I mean, that Gobert still, but
Gobert.
That's one less person to throw at Jokic, though.
Yeah.
To your point, but I still think the Lakers, high to powers, can still get to the conference finals. Just because of the matchups.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think, and I mean, LeBron is a freak, and if Anthony Davis is healthy, anything can happen. If the two of them combine for 55, 60 points on any given night, the Lakers have a really good chance of winning.
Yeah. What do you stand on the whole LeBron? Like, something came up a couple days ago about should LeBron get a statue outside Staples? I said no. But then Jordan Buscarini,
not unless he gets another ring.
Jordan Buscarini, a friend of Jordan fairly decent. He's on the show. He's actually coming on the show today. Actually, next episode we're recording. Actually, he made a good point though. He said LeBron has done more at that arena than Oscar De La Hoya has, and yet De La Hoya has a statue outside of Crypto. So
yeah, but that completely disregards the raza of it all in LA.
It's cultural, right? I guess, right? To your point,
cultural thing. Yeah, like that. When you talk about what an icon De La Hoya is in the Mexican community, what he means to Los Angeles, no, stop it.
I'm sorry.
No.
I still think though that the LeBron era in LA has been, I won't say a failure because it can't be a failure. You won a title, but it's been a letdown.
No, you can't call it a failure because even if they only win a combined 80 games over the duration of his contract, or because I think it seems like there's a good chance he resigns because most likely Bronny is not coming out in this draft. He does not look NBA ready.
No, right.
I think he's averaging 7.5 points or something like that at USC.
Not even.
And USC is not a top
5 points. Yeah.
Is it down to 5?
I think it's 5 now. I think.
Yeah,
don't quote me on that.
I don't think Bronny's one and done. So I do think there's a decent chance that LeBron resigns. And if even, like I said, let's say he plays in LA for another 4 years and they win a combined 80 games, it's a win because there is not a single player active in the NBA in 2020 who could have been the face of the Lakers franchise in the wake of Kobe's death other than LeBron James.
Right.
Simple as that. And the win it for Kobe season, to me, cements LeBron as a Laker legend, maybe not as a statue legend, but I think if he got even one more, he's earned it because again, there's no one I wanted to be the face of the Lakers other than LeBron during that time. Maybe right. Steph.
Yeah, it's a good point.
LeBron or Steph are the only two people who could have shouldered that.
Yeah. So then I ask you this question then. Baseball's around the corner. Dodgers. We got Shohei, obviously, and all that. And the team is stacked. God, I hate you guys. Are you excited for baseball? A little bit?
Yeah, right. We're 10-3 in the Cactus League. Holding strong in first place. I think obviously spring training doesn't mean shit, but Dodgers look great. Max Muncy's in the best shape he's been in his entire career. The pitching staff's looking strong. No, Dodgers look fucking great. I love it. Cannot wait for that.
I remember at this time last year, we're doing podcasts. I remember saying to myself, The Dodgers.
And I'll be honest, if the Lakers looked like the Nuggets, I would be a lot more engaged.
Probably. You're a spoiled Laker fan. You've had years of titles, and I get it. But I remember last year, at this time last year, the Dodgers, a lot of question marks. Well, is this the start of the fall? They'll be good, but how good? Are they going to rebuild a little retooling?
Yeah. Do they overspend on Freddie and Mookie? Blah 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 blah. Are they keeping Kershaw around too long?
And now we're here. Now we're here. Like they might arguably have the 2 or 3 best players in baseball on the same team.
The one thing that I have to fucking take my victory lap on is that I have been saying since basically he got into the league that it was a foregone conclusion Shohei Ohtani was going to be a Dodger.
Oh yeah, I call that like 2 years ago myself.
I'm having so much fun with that.
Yeah.
Especially with Angel fans.
Yeah.
The like 11 that I know.
the Clippers of baseball, obviously.
Yeah, they're so bad.
At least they won a title in the last 20 years. Well, 20-something years. So at least they won one title.
Yeah.
The one I can't stand because they beat Barry Bonds, but that's the hero there. But I'm baseball. Like with me, I'm kind of like whatever. It's here. I'm happy. I guess I'm here. I'm happy about it. But
obviously, I see a lot of Mets coverage. It doesn't look like hopes are terrifically high for this season.
And that's a good. And you know what? Honestly, that's a good thing. Keep everything measured. Keep everything measured.
The blue and orange I see the most of around town is for Islanders hockey, not for Mets baseball at the moment.
And you know what? I'm okay with that.
And I'm in Mets country. Like I am on the side of the.
There you go. So, all right. Anything else you want to cover? I know we'll talk off the air about like the Ringer and the media stuff and what they're doing, their podcast, whatnot. And.
You said you wanted to touch on some stuff from Higher Learning.
Oh yeah, I love Van Lathan, dude. I remember I think last year we discussed this, you and I. Remember he did a podcast with Emmanuel Acho.
Yeah,
a conversation with Emmanuel Acho, and they kind of got into it, and they both kind of had the same goals, but the styles are differently. Where Acho's a little more. That's what I'm looking for. Kind of likes to delegate and kind of likes to appease somewhat, and Van Lathan's more aggressive and go for the throat, kind of thing.
Van's I would say Van's definitely a lot more unapologetic than Emmanuel. That's
I'll be honest with you. Like I used to be with Acho, for example. Like that approach was the more effective one. And mind you, I like having conversations with people I disagree with and whatnot. But I also my heart is more on the Van Lathan scope of things. Sometimes you just got to call out bullshit what it is. Yeah. And you got to call it out aggressive and let the dogs lie at that point. Yeah. And he's
he and Rachel do a great job of that with their guests. They don't let them come on their show and lie. They won't give platforms to assholes.
Well, the thing is, what's funny is that they'll still give platforms to people that are controversial. Like Larry Elder was on there one time, and
but they have limits. They won't. They've had people on that they won't bring back. They won't bring Candace Owens on. They're not going to platform bullshit.
Right. If you're not engaging in productive conversation, they don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Even for someone like Van Lathan. No, I love that show. I think the combination, the chemistry between him and Rachel is phenomenal.
Yeah, according to my Spotify, it was my most listened to podcast in 2023. So yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah. No, I love Higher Learning.
I wish they put out more clips of their shows though, because I listen to so much content, dude, and their shows like an hour and a half, depending on how their format is. So it gets hard to listen to this stuff all the time. But God, their show is amazing. I love the content. I just think what they're doing is phenomenal. I'll go say as much. That might be the Ringer's best show.
Yeah.
Outside of
to me, that and the rewatchables are incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Simmons is hit miss for me now these days. I listen to Simmons in clips now as opposed to like the entire podcast.
As often as not, I enjoy like rewatchables episodes that he's not on. Because really? They've been doing it for hundreds of episodes now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you'll get ones that are, like Chris Ryan and Sean Fennessy and maybe Van, but Bill's not there. And, you have this kind of, rotating panel depending on the movie. And I frankly, I get like some of the big ones, of course, Top Gun, Heat, The Few Good Men, those are obviously ones that Simmons is going to be on. But But no, some of the best episodes are ones that he's not even a part of.
That's interesting, actually. That's actually interesting.
Yeah. Not a knock against Bill. I actually, he's probably one of my favorite Celtics. Like if I was gonna like have a beer with any sports writer and talk shit about Lakers and Celtics, like there's nobody I would rather like go hang out with than Bill Simmons.
Well, and he knows what he's talking
hang
about.
Hang out in a bar in Hollywood and let him tell me what a piece of shit LA is.
Even though he lives there.
Yeah, exactly.
He lives there. Go figure. It's been there fucking almost 20 years now.
Something like that, yeah.
He's a long time. Anyway, Mark, that was good. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, man.
Send me the information for the Haiti stuff. Put in the
You
show
got
notes,
it.
of course.
We'll
have you back on the pod very soon, and obviously we have to up the pods now as we're getting now into the election cycle, and we're now not officially, but
yeah,
it's Trump Biden.
I mean, the conventions are what 3-4 months away.
Yeah, we
3.5.
still got. Real quick, before we get to go, who does Trump pick for VP? Early prediction on that.
I honestly have no fucking clue. I have no clue.
Does he go female?
I think he has no choice.
He has no choice?
Yeah.
You can go black male. You can go Ben Carson or Tim Scott.
I don't think so. It's probably a fashy white lady.
At least Hispanic.
Maybe.
I don't know. Carrie Lake.
Maybe.
She's the worst.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, she would
not surprise me at all.
She went for senator anyway. Didn't she run for senator? So I mean, she's busy herself.
Yeah, I think so. I think she is because Cinema announced she's not going to seek re-election.
Oh,
so
that's something we didn't cover. Cinema, she's out. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, good fucking riddance.
You couldn't stand her from day one.
I hate her. Oh God, she drives me crazy.
Yeah.
She's such a Karen. She's such a fucking Scottsdale Karen, faux liberal.
Scottsdale Karen.
Oh God,
I love it.
Her.
Yeah. Anyway, send me the information on the on text, and I'll put it in the air. Check the support, of course, Mark and the Haiti project, of course, and he'll be on the podcast very soon. Again, we'll have a lot of these going forward. As we now, I said, we are officially off and running with the 2024 election. So, good job by you as always.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.